So when you think about a top-tier mechanic shop, you're probably picturing amazing technicians, right? But what if I told you the single most important tool for your shop's success at all, but how it's organized? Let's dive in, because a well-run shop is so much more than just clean, it's a high-performance machine.
Just take a look at this. We've all seen it, right? A mechanic has to basically wedge themselves under a car, twisting their body into a pretzel just to get the job done. Now, this isn't just uncomfortable, it's a straight-up recipe for chronic injury, and it is costing the entire industry big time.
This number, 94.4%. Just let that sink in for a second. What is that? Well, that's the absolutely staggering percentage of mechanics in one Nigerian study who suffer from low back pain. Seriously, this isn't just some statistic, it's a full-blown crisis.
But you know, the physical pain, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. The disorganization that you can see on the surface creates this massive ripple effect of damage, hurting both your team. We're about to pull back the curtain on what I call the hidden costs of chaos.
Okay, let's really dig into these numbers. The NIJO Tech study paints a pretty grim picture of the damage being done. And yeah, while that low back pain is nearly universal, check this out. 43.5% with neck pain, 40% with knee pain. This isn't just a few random aches and pains, people. This is a systematic failure of the work environment to protect its own. And this is not happening by accident. The study hits the nail on the head. The root cause? A glaring, almost unbelievable lack of safety precautions. The work environment itself has become the bad guy here. And the risks? Well, they've become dangerously normal. And right here, this is the why in living color. You can draw a straight line from those stats we just saw to what's happening on the shop floor every single day. These awkward postures, bending over, lifting heavy stuff, these are the direct causes of all that chronic pain we're talking about. And let's be crystal clear, this isn't just a health and safety issue. Every single minute a technician wastes hunting for a tool or moving around a cluttered bay is a minute you can't bill for. It's a direct hit to your profitability. So the real question is, are you ready to fight back?
All right, the fight against chaos starts with control. Step 1 is simple: master your inventory. You need to know every tool, every part, every single asset in your shop, because you can't organize what you can't see.
So how do you actually do this? Well, don't try to boil the ocean. Start with the 80-20 rule. 20% of items you use 80% of the time. Get those listed first. Then, you just gotta pick a system to keep it all straight. Could be a simple spreadsheet, or you could go all in with a powerful app. Now, the system you choose really does matter. Look, manual tracking is easy to start, but we all know it's super prone to human error. Inventory apps, on the other hand, they're like a command center for your shop. You get real-time data, low stock alerts, and the whole team can see what's where.
So you know what you have. Awesome. Now we gotta talk about where everything should live. And this isn't just about tidying up, okay? This is about engineering your space for peak performance. And, just as importantly, for safety. This is the design phase.
These principles are so simple, but believe me, they are absolute game changers. Keep the tools you use all the time close by. Go vertical. Use that wall space to get stuff off the floor. Put your main tool chests on wheels so they can go to the job. And for goodness sake, lock down your expensive gear. Easy, right? A really powerful concept here: high-density storage. Think about things like rollout shelves or those big sliding units. These things are designed to cram the maximum amount of storage into the smallest possible footprint. The whole point is to keep your shop floor clear and safe.
Okay, so you've mastered your inventory, you've engineered your space, but a shop isn't static, right? It's a living, breathing thing with people and cars moving all the time. So how do you manage that flow safely in this new organized world? That's the next critical piece of the puzzle. And that brings us to our final step, defining your workflow. It's time to stop just reacting to the chaos and start actually designing a visual system that guides every single movement in your shop.
Here's the bottom line, it's this simple. Clear floors are safe floors, and the key to keeping them clear is creating a visual language with floor markings. It is a simple but incredibly powerful way to tell everyone where to go, and maybe more importantly, where not to go.
And the best part? OSHA has a standardized, color-coded system ready for you to use. Yellow for aisles, white for equipment, red for scrap areas, yellow and black for hazards. It becomes this universal language that speaks volumes about how seriously you take safety and efficiency.
And this is the payoff. A well-marked floor literally turns chaos into clarity.
It creates a predictable system that cuts down on confusion, minimizes accidents, and just supercharges your entire operation. So after all that work, what do you really get? You get what we call the organized advantage. And let me tell you, it is a force that will fundamentally transform every single corner of your business. Let's recap that path one more time. It's a three-part philosophy, really. First, you control your inventory. Second, you design your space. And third, you define your workflow. Control, design, and flow. And the results? They're undeniable. A safer workplace leads to happier, more efficient employees. And you know what that leads to? A healthier bottom line. It's this powerful chain reaction, this upward spiral where absolutely everybody wins.
So I'm going to leave you with this one challenge. Organization isn't a project you finish, it's a discipline you practice. Your shop is a constantly evolving battlefield. So the question is, have you built a system that's agile enough to win the war against chaos? One car.
Organized auto shop. It's about so much more than just having clean floors and neatly arranged tools. It's really about creating a well-oiled machine that drives efficiency, profit, and most importantly, safety. So let's break down exactly why that is. 94.4%. Just let that number sink in for a second. According to a recent study, that's the staggering percentage of auto mechanics who suffer from low back pain. We're not talking about a small problem here. This is a crisis that's affecting pretty much everyone in the industry. And that number, it isn't just some abstract statistic. This right here is the unseen cost of a disorganized workspace. It's a real deal health and safety crisis that's baked right into the shop environment, forcing workers in damaging positions day in and day out. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The hidden cost of chaos. And it's not just about a little bit of clutter. It is a direct threat to the well-being of the very people who make these shops run. I mean, the scale of this problem is just massive. While that 94% number for low back pain is the headliner, it's definitely not the only issue. Over 40% of mechanics are also dealing with neck and knee pain. So you see, it's not an isolated thing. It's a pattern of systemic physical strain that affects the entire body. So it's pretty clear, right? But what you might not realize is how that physical pain translates directly into business pain. It hits the bottom line in ways you probably wouldn't even expect. Here's the connection, plain and simple. That chart on the left, it shows that workspace clearances in many shops fall way below the minimum safety standards. And the result of that data? Well, it's the reality you see on the right, a mechanic literally crammed into a tight, awkward, and unsafe position just to get the job done. Managers are a daily reality for so many techs. And we're not just talking about working underneath a car. Poor design affects work under the hood, changing tires, you name it. Basically, every single task. Every single time a mechanic has to bend or twist or overreach, it just leads to more physical strain and a ton of wasted energy. And get this, even the most basic equipment, like a workbench, is often a huge part of the problem. The minimum recommended height for a standing workbench is about 91 centimeters. Why? To reduce back strain. But the average height they actually measured in the study, 7 centimeters. That forces workers to constantly hunch over, causing completely unnecessary strain. This quote, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's not one single big flaw. It's the accumulation of 1,000 tiny inefficiencies. Every wasted step, every tool you have to hunt for, every awkward bend, it all adds up to lost time, lower productivity, and a team that's just physically worn down by the end of the day. So if the problem is basically a death by 1,000 cuts, the solution has to start with a clear plan. And the very first step is creating a workflow blueprint, a way to deliberately optimize every single movement in the shop. What does that actually look like? Thinking really critically about how people and cars move through your space. You can create designated workstations for specific tasks, like diagnostics or parts cleaning. Put your heaviest, most used equipment in central, easy-to-reach spots. The goal here is to just slash those unnecessary steps between the hoist, the toolbox, and the parts room. Oh, and here's a simple but totally revolutionary idea. Put your tools on wheels. Mobile carts literally bring the workshop right to the car. And why does all this matter? Well, a smart layout is directly tied to your profitability. A well-managed, mid-sized shop can pull in $2.5 million a year. Every single minute you save through a better workflow is a minute that can be spent on another repair, which directly boosts your revenue. Simple as that. All right, so optimizing movement is step one. Step two is mastering the things that move, your tools and your parts. And that means taming inventory chaos with a real systematic approach. I know getting inventory under control can feel like this huge monumental task, but you can actually break it down into 4 pretty clear steps. First, so record everything. Second, physically organize it based on how often you use it. Third, create a simple standard procedure for how everyone manages inventory. And fourth, and this is a big one, remember that it's not a one and done project. You have to keep adjusting and refining the system. And hey, if that first step, recording everything, feels totally overwhelming, there's a trick. It's called the Pareto principle, though you probably know it as the 80-20 rule. In an auto shop, this means about 80% of your business comes from just 20% of your parts and services. So if you don't know where to begin, just start by organizing that critical 20%. So let's get tactical. Here are some quick wins. Put those high-use parts right near the shop floor. Common sense, right? Keep your essential tools and parts mobile on carts. Think vertical. Use shelving to get stuff off the ground and free up valuable floor space. And of course, for your high-value items, lock them up. It's a simple way to reduce shrinkage. Okay, so you've got a smooth workflow and an organized inventory. The final piece of the puzzle is to make your shop visually intuitive. This means designing for safety by creating what's known as... Now, this is one of those ideas that is so simple, but so incredibly powerful. Using a standard color system from markings on your floor, like colored tape, helps everyone instantly connect certain colors with specific areas or actions. It's like a silent guide that improves safety and helps staff find what they need faster without even having to ask. And there's actually a standard system you can use right out of the box. Think of it like a universal language for your shop floor. Yellow is for aisles, white is for equipment, red is for scrap or defects. Red and white stripes mark those crucial safety areas that have to be kept clear. And black and yellow, well, that's your warning for potential hazards. It just makes everything instantly clear. And by the way, this isn't just a nice-to-have idea. It's a requirement. OSHA actually mandates that permanent aisles be clearly marked. But a smart color coding system like this does so much more than just meet compliance. It actively creates a safer, leaner, and more efficient operation for your entire team. So, you see how it all connects in the end? An organized shop creates this amazing virtuous cycle. When you improve safety, you get a healthier, happier team. And that healthier team, they're more productive, which drives greater efficiency. And that efficiency leads directly to higher profits. It really all does start with organization. So I want to leave you with this question. Take a look around your own workspace. Doesn't matter if it's a professional shop or just your garage at home. What is the one bottleneck, that one frustrating, time-wasting inefficiency that you can go out and fix tomorrow?
So when you think about a high-performance car dealership, what comes to mind? Probably those gleaming showrooms, right? Or maybe the super clean workshops. But what if I told you the single most critical part of that whole operation is actually hidden from view? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain. So, what is it? What's that one room where a dealership's profit is either made or lost minute by painful minute? Any guesses?
You got it. It's the parts department. If you guess that, you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. It's the hidden heart of the whole dealership. Look, it's not glamorous, but it is the central hub that dictates the pace for the entire service department. And when things go wrong back there, the whole system just grinds to a halt.
And believe me, when it goes wrong, it is not just some minor headache. A chaotic parts department kicks off this massive domino effect of inefficiency that just quietly bleeds time, money, and, maybe worst of all, customer goodwill.
You know, the problems, they stack up so fast. It all starts with something that seems simple, like wasted floor space or a few lost items. But that directly leads to mechanics just standing around, waiting. And that, of course, means less time actually fixing cars, and ultimately, less time focused on your customer. See how that works? Each problem just feeds the next one, and you're stuck in this vicious cycle.
So yeah, this isn't just about being a little messy. Every single minute a mechanic spends waiting for a part is a minute of lost productivity. Every delayed repair is a direct hit to your customer's satisfaction. The real cost here is measured in lost revenue and a damaged reputation.
So how do you fix it? Well, it's not as simple as just buying some new shelves. It really starts with a total shift in mindset, a philosophy of order. And to get our heads around that, we can look to this really powerful concept from lean manufacturing.
It's called the 5S method. Now that stands for sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. The core idea is brilliantly simple. organize the workspace by giving every single tool, every single part, a specific, dedicated home. And I mean no exceptions. This just completely eliminates the guesswork and all that wasted time spent searching for things.
And get this, it's not just about some kind of cold clinical efficiency. Creating an organized environment, as this quote points out, has this huge impact on employee morale. I mean, think about it. People are less frustrated, they feel more in control, and the entire workplace just becomes more functional and way less stressful. Okay, so with that philosophy in mind, let's look at the actual physical tools that bring this vision of order to life, because this, my friends, is where the magic really starts to happen.
All right, look at this. On the left, you've got your traditional open shelving, which is pretty much a recipe for lost items and tons of wasted space. But on the right, high-density drawers. Everything is contained, it's organized, and you can find it instantly. The difference is literally night and day. And here's the kicker. Just by switching from those old open shelves to a drawer-based system, you can recover up to 70% of your floor space. 70%. That space you can now use for more service bays, which of course means more revenue. It's a no-brainer.
So, how is that even possible? Well, the secret is actually pretty simple. You use high-density, partition drawers for every single part that's 4 by 4 inches or smaller. This little trick lets you use the entire cubic volume of the shelving unit, its full height and depth, instead of just wasting all that empty air you get with shelves.
Of course, not everything is going to fit in a tiny drawer, but a truly smart system is adoptable. For the bigger, bulkier stuff like tires, you got specialized racks that keep them organized and super easy to access.
And what about those notoriously awkward parts? You know the ones. Well, there are clever solutions for those too. Long moldings or those complex exhaust pipes can be hung up and stored safely without getting damaged or taking up precious floor space. It even accounts for specialty items, like batteries, that need to be stored safely and correctly. A modern system is a total solution, not just a bunch of drawers. It thinks of everything.
Okay, so we've organized the physical space. The next step is to make it intelligent. We're going to add a digital layer on top that really perfects the entire system.
This is where something called a computerized maintenance management system, or CMMS, comes in. Just think of it as the digital brain of the parts department. It's the software that centralizes everything, from work orders and asset history all the way to the entire spare parts inventory.
So how do you connect all those physical parts to the digital brain? It's actually incredibly simple. You just stick a unique QR code on every single bin. A technician comes along, scans it with their phone, and boom, they instantly get all the part info. When they take a part, another quick scan automatically updates the inventory. No manual entry, no errors. It's that easy. Now, you might be wondering, why QR codes? Why not something fancier like RFID? Well, look at the cost. QR codes are practically free to deploy, and they work with the device everyone already has in their pocket. A smart kind of job, they just hit that perfect sweet spot of cost and functionality.
So when you combine that 5S philosophy with the smart physical hardware, and then add that intelligent digital layer, the result is a total transformation. You literally move from chaos to complete control.
And at the end of the day, the goal is a service department that actually lives up to the premium image of the cars you're selling. Efficiency and organization, they aren't just back-office buzzwords. They're a direct reflection of your brand's promise of quality.
And the payoff is just immense. You get more time for your customers, you practically eliminate errors and lost parts, your mechanics are way more productive, your brand image gets a serious upgrade, and here's the big one, all of this leads directly to increased profitability.
The final result is this seamless, efficient workflow where the mechanic, the parts counter, and the inventory system are all working in perfect sync. This is what peak performance looks like, not just for the cars, but for the entire business that takes care of them. And that leaves us with a final thought. We've seen how combining physical and digital organization can totally revolutionize an auto parts department. So what about your industry? What hidden, costly inefficiencies are just lurking in your world, waiting for a similar kind of solution?
Today, we're going to build a blueprint, the ultimate guide, really, for creating a top-tier automotive workshop. We're pulling together ideas from safety, tech, and even a bit of psychology to map out what really separates a good garage from a truly great one. So when I say car workshop, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's, a bit of clutter, some grease, tools. But I want you to erase that picture for a second and look at this. This is the future. It's clean, it's organized, it's incredibly efficient. It honestly looks more like a high-tech lab than your old-school garage, right? Okay, so that's the dream. But the big question is, how do you get there? How do you actually bridge that gap between the garage of yesterday and this workshop of tomorrow? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. Here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll look at the basic anatomy. Then we'll climb 3 levels to get to the top. Level 1 is all about safety and sanity. Level 2 is about efficiency, and level 3, that's where we bring it all together with design and vision. See, a truly modern workshop is way more than just a room with tools and car lifts. You got to think of it like a living, breathing system where the space, the tech, and the people are all perfectly in sync. All right, let's start with level 1. This is the absolute foundation. We can't even think about fancy tech or cool layouts until we nail the non-negotiables, safety and, well, sanity. You got to get this right first. Okay, I know. Looking at a list like this can feel like homework. A boring safety checklist, right? But seriously, this stuff is the bedrock. This is what separates a truly professional shop from an accident just waiting to happen. We're talking clear floors, easy-to-reach exits, fire extinguishers that actually work. It's not just about ticking boxes for an inspector, it's about building a workplace that's solid from the ground up. But here's where it gets really interesting. This goes way beyond just physical safety. A messy, chaotic space, it actually messes with your head. It has a real psychological impact on your team, day in and day out. And this isn't just a feeling. We've got the data to prove it. Get this, a whopping 94% of work are more productive in a clean workspace. 94%. That's not just a small bump. That is a massive boost to performance. And the science totally backs this up. Researchers at Princeton found that when your eyes see clutter, your brain gets distracted. It literally has to fight to focus. So that messy workbench or that pile of old parts over there, it's not just ugly, it's mental static that's actively draining your team's focus away from the job they're trying to do. So you've basically got 2 choices. On one hand, a messy space actually raises stress hormones. It's like a constant low-level signal of chaos. But a clean space, it does the exact opposite. It creates a sense of calm and control, it boosts morale, and it shows your crew that you actually value them. And in today's world, that is how you find it. Okay, so our foundation is poured, it's solid, the place is safe, it's clean, and it's a good place to be. Now it's time to build the engine, a smart engine powered by data that's going to drive all our efficiency. And the heart of that engine is something called a CMMS, a computerized maintenance management system. The easiest way to think about it is like the digital brain for the entire workshop. It keeps track of absolutely everything: work orders, the history of every piece of equipment, and, crucially, your inventory of spare parts. Now here's where things get really cool. You can supercharge that digital brain with something as simple as a QR code. Imagine this. Your technician walks up to a vehicle lift, zaps a QR code with their phone, and boom, the entire maintenance history is right there. They grab a new oil filter, scan its box on the way out of the parts room, and your inventory is updated instantly, in real time. Just think about that. No more clipboards, no more guesswork. So, you might be thinking, why QR codes? What about fancier stuff like RFID? Well, take a look at this. QR codes just hit that perfect sweet spot. They cost next to nothing to set up, and guess what? Every single one of your techs already has a high-powered scanner right in their pocket. For most shops, it's a no-brainer. It's the simplest, most effective solution. So what's the bottom line here? The payoff is huge. I'm talking instant information. Inventory that's always right, so you never run out of a critical part. Automatic reordering, eliminate all that wasted time spent on paperwork. This is how you increase your throughput, how you get more work done, without completely exhausting your team. And that brings us to the top of the mountain, level 3. This is the master level. It's where we take our solid foundation and our powerful engine and integrate them through smart, intentional design. This is where everything, and I mean everything, starts working together perfectly. Just look at this picture for a second. That exhaust system isn't just some clunky thing bolted to the wall as an afterthought. No, it's built right into the structure. It's all about connectivity and function. In a top-tier workshop, every single detail, from the air hoses to the electrical outlets, is playing out to be exactly where you need it, when you need it. And this thinking applies to the equipment, too. Getting high-quality, organized toolboxes and cabinets, that's not just about looking professional. Back to what we said about psychology. It sends a crystal clear message to your team. We value you and we're investing in you. That is so powerful. You don't get from a patch of dirt to a high-performance workshop by accident. It just doesn't happen. It's the result of really careful, intentional planning. Every single detail is thought through to make the workflow as smooth and efficient as possible. So this is it. This is the ultimate vision. It's a workshop where safety, well-being, and technology aren't things you tack on later. They are baked into the design, woven into the very fabric of the space, right from day one. So let's recap the blueprint real quick. 1, you build that rock-solid foundation of safety and sanity. Level 2, you install the smart engine powered by data and tech. And level 3, you bring it all home with a deliberate design that ties people, process, and place together for peak performance. Which really just leaves one last question for you to think about. Is your workshop stuck in the past, or is it truly engineered for the future? Thanks so much. Let's talk about building a truly modern auto shop. And I'm not just talking about having the fanciest tools or the newest lifts. Now, we're going deeper. We're going to lay out the actual blueprint for a shop that's not just efficient and profitable today, but is built to handle whatever's coming next in the auto world. So let's dive right in. So I want you to picture the ideal workshop for a second. You know the one. Every single job just flows smoothly, from the moment the customer drops off their keys to the second they drive away. It's clean, it's organized, it's just efficient. Now, think about the opposite. The chaos, the frantic hunt for a specific tool, the mountains of paperwork. That's the reality for a lot of shops, right? Well, this vision of a clean, seamless shop, that's not a fantasy anymore. It's becoming the new standard. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Is your shop built for the future? And look, again, I'm not asking if you have the latest and greatest scan tool. This is about something much more fundamental. It's about the system that holds your entire operation together. And that's what we're here to do. We're going to break down the 3 essential pillars of that system. Okay, pillar number 1. This one is absolutely non-negotiable. In today's world, it's the digital backbone. Seriously, think of it like the central nervous system for your entire shop. It's what connects every single piece of the puzzle and makes sure everything is talking to everything else, instantly. And the heart of that digital backbone, it's your auto repair software. This is the tool that finally lets you say goodbye to those stacks of invoices and those messy, all-over-the-place spreadsheets. Imagine it. Every appointment, every estimate, the entire service history for a car, even your text with the customer, it's all in one single, easy-to-access spot. Game changer. And this kind of software completely revolutionizes your workflow, right? A customer can book their appointment online, they get an accurate estimate right away, they can even get real-time updates on how the repair is going, and then they pay right from their phone. When you automate all those little steps, you're not just saving time, you're cutting down on errors and freeing up your technicians to do what they do best, actually fix cars. Okay, so let's get a little more specific here. Inside that whole digital system, there's one piece of tech. It's so simple, so overlooked, but it's an absolute game changer for efficiency. And the best part? It costs next to nothing. I'm talking about the humble QR code. It's honestly brilliant how simple this is. You just stick a QR code on a parts bin or a specific tool, your tech needs a part, they scan the code with their phone, and boom, your inventory system is instantly updated. The software can even be set up to automatically reorder that part when you're getting low. Think about that. No more tedious manual inventory counts, no more last-minute panicked runs to the parts store. It's all handled. So you might be wondering, why QR codes? What about something fancier like RFID? Well, it really just boils down to 2 things: cost and simplicity. Look at this. Deploying QR codes is dirt cheap. And the scanner? Well, it's the smartphone that's already in every technician's pocket. For most shops, there is absolutely no question. It's the smartest and fastest way to get a real handle on your inventory. All right, so our digital backbone is up and running, everything's communicating. Now it's time for pillar 2, the physical foundation. This is about the actual physical space of the shop, the layout, the workflow, and this is crucial, the connection between having an organized shop and having a safe shop. You know, a well-designed layout isn't about making the place look pretty for a magazine. It's all about function and flow. It's about thinking ahead so when you finally get that new alignment rack, you're not accidentally creating a huge traffic jam that slows everyone else down. It's about designing for efficiency. And let's be really clear about this. You absolutely cannot separate workflow from safety. They're not two different things. They're two sides of the very same coin. A shop with an organized layout and clear pathways is just inherently a safer shop. It means fewer things to trip over, fewer accidents, end of story. But listen, a clean, organized workspace like this, it doesn't just happen on its own. It's not magic. It starts with a smart plan, sure, but it's maintained day in and day out by having a set of clear, strict, non-negotiable rules for housekeeping and safety. And everyone, I mean everyone on the team, has to be on board. And when I say non-negotiable, I mean it. These have to be rock-solid standards. The workshop floor, it has to be free of slip and trip hazards, always. Tools, they go back to their proper place, every time. Airlines and hoses, get them up off the floor. And the details, like making sure you have at least 600 millimeters of clearance between your hoists, that's not a friendly suggestion. That is the very foundation of a safe, professional shop. Okay, we've got our digital nervous system, we've got our physical foundation, but a shop, well, it's just a building with tools if you don't have the people. And that brings us to our third and honestly most important pillar, the human engine. This is where it all comes together. This is about how the environment you create directly impacts your team's performance, their morale, and their ability to focus. This quote really just nails it. When our space is a mess, so are we. It's so true. There's a very real, very powerful connection between our physical surroundings and our mental state. You have a messy, cluttered workbench, you're going to have a messy, cluttered mind trying to solve a complex diagnostic problem. It really is that simple. And if you think that's just some feel-good idea, wait till you see the numbers. The data on this is absolutely wild. A survey found that a whopping 94% of workers said they feel more productive when they're in a clean workspace. Okay, but it's not just a feeling, right? It's about results. And get this, 77% of those same workers said they don't just feel more productive, they actually produce higher quality work in that same clean environment. Now, let's talk about what this means for your bottom line. Because it's not just about quality, it's about quantity too. Studies have actually measured this stuff, and employees in well-maintained, organized spaces are, on average, 12% more productive. Just stop and think about that for a second. What would a 12% boost in productivity do for your shop's billable hours this month? And there's actually some simple science behind all of this. When our brains see clutter and chaos, it literally triggers a stress response. It releases cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. But in organized space, it does the exact opposite. It creates a feeling of calm, of being in control, and that mental state is where focus comes from. So I really want you to reframe how you think about this. Keeping a clean, organized shop isn't a cost. It's not just another expense on the P&L. It is an investment. A direct investment in the morale of your team, in their ability to focus, and at the end of the day, in the quality of the work they're putting out for your customers. So there you have it, those three pillars, the digital, the physical, and the human. They aren't separate ideas. They're all interconnected pieces of the blueprint for a truly modern, future-ready auto shop. Let's just quickly recap what we've covered. It all starts with the digital backbone. That's where you get your efficiency. You build that on top of a solid physical foundation. That's where you get safety and workflow. And then you power the entire thing with the human engine, your team, focused and motivated, because you've created an environment where they can succeed. When you get all three of those pillars working together in sync, you don't just have a repair shop anymore. You have an integrated system, and that is a system that isn't just ready for today's jobs. It's ready for what's coming down the road. We're talking AI-powered diagnostics, the big shift to EVs, all of it. You'll be ready. So that really just leaves one final question for you to think about. Looking at these three pillars, the digital, the physical, and the human, what's the very first step? What's the one thing you can do, maybe even this week, to start building a better blueprint for your shop?